Yeah, I'm Vincent Upon Asamoah, Member of Parliament for Doma West.
Zadato Ajiman Rawlings, Member of Parliament, Clotte Colley constituency.
Gisela Tete Agbodza, Member of Parliament for Awutu-Senya West. Thank you. Good morning.
We are left with our sister, Honorable
Beat and what else must you then? Member of Parliament for Laura and a member of this committee. Thank you.
Benjamin Techi and Chiedu, clerk to the committee.
Then we have one of our members who will join us, Honorable Abena Asare, who will also join us. So we have the full complement of the committee here. Now we'll ask our technical department to show us the video. This video is specifically for what has happened before the distraction. And anyone that is found on this video has been invited as a witness, not a culprit. So today, we are taking witness statement. We want those who were there to tell us what they know about what happened. I want to thank, and so the media is going to be a friendly chat, no witch hunting at all. Our colleagues, whether you are a member of parliament or not a member of parliament, please feel free to tell this committee what you saw or what you witnessed on that Thursday or Friday. So we'll begin with the video, and then we'll take the oath and we'll start. I want to plead with colleagues that we have two ministers amongst us. And so we'll start with the ministers so that they can go to their various ministry, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you very much. Maybe my vice chairs has something to share, then I can allow the video to roll.
No, thank you. I think we've discussed whatever you are putting across, so I don't intend to add anything. Thank you.
Refer near Koso our parliament no honomu enti eje better cross over near back to a parliament house near goshe enti yewo live our TVXYZ any power 97.9 FM so a probing a committee sabria menu Erica say no chaos I see what parliament no and nuntina a committee no atinasiwa but mimi abianso ewa hanomu na yahwe nemo yebeko parliament yakoshe video enam so I must answer me na isi ye yenko ne yenkohwe ye rekoso yenkohwe amasuma mo ni etino as habe parliament no ebusa na worry about sa video no enti wo pese wo hu adekudi potting na msunti a sa de we esiye nipa obi kan etwi table no anase nipa obi kan efa akunwa na wote so ade besi table ni so ansa na microphone so no wo mo ese no aha table akunwa ni bi ni wo mo dia besi ho no enumi mom ana baako nso di baako ebeka ho wo ho we ye time nanka obo akwabena minta kando aha ana mahu omabo habib mahu za habib ni ana another bre so oye minority group onu so fa akunwa ni bi ebesi aye madam Patricia Piede any pair any aye appointment committee ni chairman any ni deputy and as a ranking afenyo maki wo ni pair nipa be ni habib any another bre and wo fa akunwa no ebesi aye table ni so anu ma table ni ma wo mdi gonwa ni besi su wie na anche ana ba ku fi asese microphones na wo kwase bi mu no ana enu nsusu fi asese wo twetwetwe aye microphones na hamani nyina enti table no eba ni sa no ana wo ko na no ai se wo mu fi asese twetwetwe table no u se table no na difference too enti ai se wo mu tu baako enti ai se wo mu tu baako fi baako no enti ama ko na ba ja ntemu ho anu mu na Kwame Agbodza mu nsusu ba gina no kasa ai wo hono se den na mu nwo enti na minority funa na wo fa nko tu no per the video na ye wi sisi a aye live on TV XYZ no aha enumi ana wo bi TS no anase nkoma no ebesisi anase be gugu aye table no so ewo hono ma na hono mu aye beja enti na the nominee for Ministry of Health aye kwabra mita akando de ogina chen obehu se na honorable Asidu Nketia Junior nso gina ne chen efei boxing nerve native de pia me konso gina ne chen wachani batakari green yellow and white ogina hodi wachani tutu ogina hodi sa ana kwabra mita akando nso gura aye pepebi odi hu sa na worry show ewo hono eti na at this moment no eti de pia me kono onka ahwe ye no ogina hodi na orihwe the likes of another prayer any habibu ni any yi eti that hima no chebe funzuka ho eti video na ni ene guso aye wi live for TV XYZ so no eti weni ni esi ye ni bi saada no weni nam so a edi sa chaos no ebae ewo hono ma ene dey committee na tenasia wo probi ona ye hwemo wo pese wo tie wo bebisa ko sansa hina na ye wo hina na ba de gende but ne ba idea yes ade no esiye eti ye guso aye video no so wo TV XYZ enu ni ye reach mu ama mo amorite ye ewo power 97.9 that is that is my media ni
enti afasa de wadi kan ya cheche mu no who say wo eye betting no am wo spend so many hours ewo enipa bi no so enti bo be ye nyume ndunu tu se na o ma bre na no na dompuma no sa bre no wo che se we ye bre ne kododo enti company form wa na wo function na de chie na se dia na de ne kona so akoro mo doso na wo so mo to na wo so mo to asa matinya se bre wo nipa ba ko be do nsia na do mo fo so a wo se ma bre e wo se to aso ne ye e na dompuma ne se dabi yentia e dis appreciate go ba ya wo se onabo frank anodon tra onna ase odi kan so
akunwa no ye table e no chikwet
e mo chi e no ti so bi ka we cho se table aha e na se so mo pika ka ni na so so ma ko ye so mo se ko ye e di be si table ne so a ti se ko ya no a o mo ti si table ne so na e ko microphone na tempo e se microphone na e ko e de ba ya e se ye no ti video no di etwagu e sanse se di ampani kwa trance a wo mo eni edi akire no e nyina obaka se enda ho pefe
se na another prayer o table suwo another prayer ni oni Michael ochireba fi nipa ba ni no gina won se ufi ensa wa mo ndu so a enche no du kufo idua e won nipa ba ni no mo samso wo ho no aha suwo ho e na mo twitwitwi table no e wo ho no
e kwabra ne so na apejada ne ko ho no
bra onobo gape ko ye se obeyi table no obeyi akonwa no go fi table ni so no na to adumade ni so no you see them the minority follow wo mo se dabi wo mo mpene e na Jerry Ahmed e ko gina ho wodagba we MP on so ko gina ho bi e na ene ɛna ɔmo pɛgya tables no ne nneɛma ɛwɔ hɔ no so wɔho
enti ɛbaasa no kora no deɛ sɛ moabrɛ no sɛ montumi ntoa so kora no a ɛneɛ moyɛ mu dede no mompie na monkwae na akɔwie sɛ motwetwe mompɛ sɛ vetin no bɛtoa so ɛno nti na ɔmotoa payɔ ɛhyɛ daa ɛtwetwe tables sɛ nkonya no ɛde sii so ɛkɔwie akyire ɔmo hɔrihɔri wɔ mo a dɛ sɛ baako kora deɛ ne kootu bi baabi koraa
ɛna wei Alexander akosi akwa ɔno gyina ha yi ɔyɛ Oda MP
no
ha Oda MP no
one allegations
I say obi ko so eye na hwebe bia eche agina hwebe bia ya ogina on we na gina ho eye kwabra mita kando on ni na gina ho enti hina mashe begoni ben wo ko she table na sia okoso ni bibi mo ho no oh anyema ni bi ho mu ya ogini ho a
ni cancer
I mean ogini ho a wonti ase e wo ho no so ho enti ɛna minority leader afenyo marking nso agina hɔ na ɔtututu mu
na nka wo na wakɔyɛ pani a woda ɛdɔm ya no yɛ dɔm kuma na no a ɛkɔba asa no nka wo se wotia wɔ mo ɛkyerɛ sɛ deɛ bi deɛ mo yɛ na nyɛ san sɛ yɛ kamera hyɛ dwafie hɔ a wɔbɔnyafo Alexander afenyo marking wakyɛ hie aka wɔ hɔ a wonim ya hɔ no hyehyɛ ne adeɛ ɛwɔ mu sɛ bi adeɛ kɔ so no mo bɔnyo so deɛ nanso so sɛ bi a mo sɛ wɔ mayɛ japadeɛ no ɛyɛ adeɛ ha dwene
and at that time no na the foreign affairs minister designate Samuel Okudeto Ablakwa o hwe se na o sheki meeting wo hono mo say ade na ene hu a na wo because say ye beka say ye veto bi keke na sa ade we besi na a whole MPs bi to say Jerry Ahmed no another Michael Ochubeti anyone our keke no misbehave wo hono mo say no na ene hu because o ko no so ko ba se begom no a chere wie pa eti se wo be sa ade mo na muma to the extent that not a minority here. And we are leader. You should know better. But one year what can be me? Can you imagine?
Enti akra de ekoso ne de ye nyina ye condemn ye kasasi atre se antwa wie kura we no enye nra speaker na yi suspension na fi wo mu so a enka we no a video no ye hwemu se no a ye hu de ekọ no ni gidi senka so hwe kase bi pa wo hodo ma enka de be man padi fo kan e ma no ma se de nyina kan ko aka e mo mo
e wo se ye mo mu o mu tua
hoka ya esansa ye o ma ye japade ye nyina sika ne akabom ne ye de ato muntumi mfa da ko nkonkotena nkonkosese no san fasika nkonkoto enkonkohya na
ene hwe anodo mpre wakoso to bomu hwe bia no na ote a wo fi won ma san ko gina baby fofo hwe se na waso to bomu so it then you betumi say eye na tunu mutumu po won wa ya say ye be se ne ma no say be abet na ntua so eti hwe won wo honum hwe ne ore Kwame
ba ye ma tiefo ne ahwefo hunu say we nyina ye hwe wo TV ni so no we TV kasi a esi committee no anyone omohwe and footage no enye area TV station bi and the footage nemo parliament footage free parliament ankasa it is necessary ni omudi omani ehunu no eno ne ebobo so dia chen radio so a so mo hwe TV ni so but you see in discipline na course on 19 ya be run wa say dem won dey come on 19 ya be run to the sense honorable Abujina apart from say wo didi
honorable Senator Ajman Rollins Atem no de ne papa ne na busu ebe mu no on wasem o kafa Sam George can you imagine the sense say ade bi anya no krakra no o kafa no ama eneye kase waba bonti abe party o de kan we
Abujina
po what's that
that much I do ma menka sangu honorable Jinapo Samuel Jinapo na ekasai what the achopa ye mu dru akwama onmenyafo Sam George ya watch say I unreservedly withdraw and apologize to my brother Sam George.
Mati, and yanko silver near come back to the committee no if you waba near wakano ye between who come.
The leader of the house, Honorable Mahama Ayariga, to take the oath, and then he will tell us what exactly he witnessed on that day. After that, we'll take Honorable Kwame Agbodza and then Honorable Jifa Gomashi, and then on that direction.
Hello.
Manso ha ono so Buah nkomo no na sabre di obesai oba be dikan ye be tutu na no honorable Mahama Ayariga majority leader yentie
I Mahama Ayariga swear by Allah that the evidence I shall give before this committee touching the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me Allah.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mahama Ayariga, leader of the House. Please, can you tell this committee what you witnessed on the 30th of January 2025 and what you know about the incident that has happened on that fateful day? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. On the said day, around 6 to 7 p.m., I came to this room where the committee was sitting, and I took a seat, I think where Honorable Bidziding is seated now. And I observed proceedings. When I came into the committee room, the nominee to the Ministry of Transport was the one being vetted, and I observed the vetting for a while until the vetting of the nominee for transport was completed. And then there was a decision by the chairman to invite Honorable Akando to take his seat so that he will be vetted. That was when I noticed that there was some strong expression of disagreement by the minority side of the committee. But I remained seated for a while, and I was observing proceedings to see how the chairman of the committee was going to manage the situation. So I was seated there for a long time. I never got up, I never uttered a word. I just sat there and I was watching. And the minority members rose up and will not sit, will not leave the room, and publicly were expressing their disagreement with the chairman to continue with the vetting exercise. So I remained seated, and after a while, when I noticed that it was difficult for the chairman to bring order to the room, I decided to get up from where I was seated and start talking to both sides to understand what really was the problem. Because I'm not a member of the committee. I don't know what discussions took place. I just heard both sides exchanging words and shouting at each other. I heard words like ambush. I heard words like we didn't agree on this. And I heard words like we must vet them. And I heard words like you cannot stop us. And so I knew that there was some disagreement somewhere, but what it was, I didn't know. So I tried to talk to them to try and hear what the issue was. So I walked to all the sides trying to understand what is the problem. On the minority side, they said that they had had some discussions, and the understanding was that they were supposed to vet 3 nominees, and then later on there was a plea to add a 4th nominee, and they agreed. After that, there was a plea to add a fifth nominee, and that was the nominee for the Minister of Transport. And then there was resistance that, according to them, Honorable need to try to convince the side to accede to the plea by the majority side to add the nominee for the Ministry of Transport. And so ultimately they agreed. And that was the nomination that I came and met. But towards the end, they have seen that the majority side is parading 2 additional nominees. And those were Akando and then Honorable Ablakwa. And that they were not going to entertain the nomination of these 2 other, the version of these 2 other nominees. And I had their side. So I tried to speak to the chairman and then the majority side. They also indicated that there was no agreement to vet only 3 people, and that because of the decision to hear vulnerable, they had pushed all those who were supposed to be nominated that day to the Thursday. So they were hoping to clear both the nominees for Wednesday and Thursday on Thursday. So that was what they were seeking to achieve, which is just to complete the task that was before them. And there was strong disagreement. So I tried to convince the majority side that how about if they agree to vet Akando so that you push Ablakwa to Friday morning. Is that acceptable? They said no, they must vet the 2 of them that day. Then I went to the minority side and tried to plead with them. Is it okay for you to vet Akando since he's already seated, and then we can defer Ablakwa to Friday morning? And they also said no. They will not vet Akando. Some were okay, some said we don't have a problem with Akando, but we have a problem vetting Ablakwa tonight. So I decided to engage the minority leader, and I asked him to come out of the committee room with me so that we can talk. So outside, he gave a very strong objection and said his side would not agree and that they were tired and they agreed on 3 and they had been generous enough to do 5 and we want to push them to do 7. It was too much and it was already late. It was about 8 p.m. and they were tired. They would not continue the work. So when I noticed that he could not come along with me to at least agree to vet Akando, I came back trying to talk to some people on his side to prevail on him. Trying to talk to some people on his side to prevail on him, and the situation had degenerated where it had gotten to breaking tables and people holding each other's shirts, and I tried to separate some of the fights and tried to pull some people out again. So I just kept going in and out trying to pull people out and talk to them because it was too noisy in the committee room. Nobody could hear the others. So the only way I could get to talk to people was to pull them outside the meeting room and then try to talk to them and come back into the meeting room. And the audience were mostly behind the nominee. Were also participating, and as you could see in the videos, shouting and shaming members of the minority side. And then also the corridors were full, so even within the corridor it was difficult to move around freely. So that was the situation. So I decided to call 1 or 2 people to consult and take a decision on what to do. And ultimately I decided that it would be better to end the proceedings. By which time they had broken one table, they had pulled out the plugs of the microphones, and in one or two instances they had actually smashed the microphones. And so I thought the best thing to do was to bring proceedings to an end and get the chairman to postpone it to the following day. And so I announced that, and they all accepted and dispersed. Those were what I saw and what I did on that day.
Thank you very much, Honorable Leader. Colleagues, this is the witness account. Any question from any of our members that we can discharge him to go?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Majority Leader, if you could just confirm, just for the records, that the video that we just watched is an accurate depiction of what you remember on the day.
Depending on where you were seated that evening, you will see different things. I was seated exactly where Honorable Zidane is seated. So I could only see directly opposite me a lot of what was happening on this side until I got up. I was seated for a very long time, to tell you the truth. I was just seated calmly throughout. And so I saw a bit of what was directly opposite me. On this side, I only saw a candle sitting here, and then he had a few people behind him. I think that the video depicts an aspect of what happened, depending on where the camera was positioned. As you can see them, they were positioned at different locations. Some were to the left, others to the right, and so those who were to the right were capturing. But when it got heated, some took their cameras and tried to capture it from a position that they thought could tell the story better. So, and others used their mobile phones, and they came and they were all over the place trying to capture different angles. So this, I believe, reflects one of the angles, but there were different other angles.
Thank you very much, Honorable Leader. We have a lot of videos from different angles from different people, but this is just to identify that you were there on that day. And so thank you very much.
I was there.
Okay. Any more so that we can dispatch and take other witnesses?
Majority Leader, may I find out from you the chaos that you just described? Do you have the time in mind that the chaos happened? You said you walked into the room between 6 and 7 p.m. and sat for some time and sat through the Minister of Transport briefing. But when the misunderstanding occurred, at what time was it?
I believe that was between 7 and 8 p.m. Between 7 and 8 p.m., yeah. I think that's when the confusion started and dragged on for a while.
Thank you very much. Leader, Majority Leader, I'd just like to find out whether there was a prior agreement to vet Honorable Agbodza and Honorable Akando for the day, in addition to the ones that were undertaken, whether leadership of the committee actually had that agreement. Thank you.
The original schedule actually provided for Ablakwa to be vetted on Thursday. Indeed, he had approached me personally to see if it could be vetted earlier, because the president had started traveling, and I think was even traveling to one of the Eastern or Southern African countries. And the suggestion was that the president was traveling and he didn't have the support of his Minister for Foreign Affairs. So it was important to see if we could have Ablakwa taken so that he could be sworn in and he could start working around the president's travels. So he approached me to see if he could be shifted to Wednesday or even Tuesday. And it was difficult because others had been scheduled earlier. So to shift him, you needed to move somebody out. I, on a number of occasions, tried to get the chairman to shift him forward. It didn't happen. So I negotiated that they should vet him on Wednesday. And it turned out that on Wednesday there was a decision to invite Vulnerable and not to vet any nominee. So it then became the position that the original date of Thursday that he was scheduled was the day that he would be vetted. So the week before, he had already been scheduled to be vetted on Thursday. So Thursday was his appropriate vetting day.
Yeah, Leader, I want to find out if I heard you right. You said originally they had agreed on vetting 3, but by the intervention of Honorable Mitchell, the Minister for Transport, the nominee for Transport, they agreed to vet that minister on that Thursday. I don't know whether I heard you right.
I said I spoke to both sides, and each side had a different account. The minority side said that their understanding was that they were to vet 3 nominees. But then when they came after the 3 nominees, their colleagues convinced them and they added 1 nominee. And after that, their colleagues requested for an additional nominee, and that was a nominee for Minister of Transport. They resisted that, but Mitchell, who was part of them, pleaded on behalf of the nominee for Transport, so they added him and vetted 5 of them. That is the account given by the minority members that I spoke to that day.
Colleagues, we'll take the last one, then we can ask the leader to go.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Leader, we want to confirm that you approached both leadership, the minority and then the majority, and yet they failed to arrive at a compromise. You approached them both, tried to mediate, and yet they failed to arrive at a compromise. Thank you.
Yeah, I spoke to both sides. I spoke to them. I tried to convince them, but each side was adamant, insisted that he had come with his family and his Ablakwa had been slated to be vetted that date. He had come with his family and his chiefs. I think the pressure was coming from the fact that the nominees on the record were slated for that day, and the nominees had come here with their families and their chiefs, and they were all out there. So members of the majority side were having a difficult, what do we do with these families? What do we do with these chiefs that we have made to travel all, this far to come, and then we'll tell them it's 8 p.m., they've sat here since morning, and you want us to tell them to go back? And that was the difficulty, that the nominees were here with their families, with their chiefs, and to ask the nominees to go back with their families and come back the following day was going to be a major inconvenience. That was really what was pushing. It wasn't just because they had the numbers and they could roll their way through. It was just, what do we do? I had confronted a similar situation last week where nominees had come with even the president of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, the president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs with his whole, Regional House of Chiefs. They were here, 10, 15 chiefs. Greater Accra he sat here the whole day. And then we finished approving, taking the report on those whose reports had been laid in the House. We finished around 8. We came here and there were 3 or 4 sets of nominees with their chiefs. And again, The minority side said it was late, they were tired, and they couldn't start approving, processing them. And the majority said they would not agree. Those chiefs had been sitting here the whole day, and they couldn't tell them to go back home. So on that day, I had to take responsibility. And I invited the nominees themselves into a room outside here and personally pleaded with them. They begged and begged. I said, no, it is late. It is 8 p.m. and you know that the average number of hours we spend on each nominee is 3 hours. So just do the calculation. If we take you'll be here till 11. Then the next chief and next nominee and his chiefs will sit and also start at 11 and do 3 hours. That will be 2 a.m. And then the next person, I said, why would you treat these old men like that? So the nominees then calmed down. I remember one nominee said the day before she had come to see us and we agreed and confirmed and assured her that she would be vetted. And this dress that she had prepared for this vetting, she had worn it and come, and then I'm saying she should go home and change the dress and come back. And then we joked about it, but then she agreed and said, but she didn't know what to do about her chiefs. So I said, leave that to me. So I asked for the president of the Greater Accra House of Chiefs to come to the meeting, and he came with his elders. And I explained to him the situation we found ourselves. I said, Nana, this is the situation. It is 8 o'clock. By the time we start, it will be 9 o'clock. And the average is 3 hours. Nana, do you want to sit here till 12 midnight? Then he said, no. And I said, so what can you do for us? I said, well, I can agree to do it tomorrow. And so we resolved it. It took a lot of effort to persuade the chiefs to go back and then return the following day. The following day, that nominee was wearing an even more pretty dress. So I said, so we give an opportunity to wear an even more pretty dress.
Leader, I hope if we give you the whole day, you narrate everything to us. So please.
So the real challenge of the majority that day, according to what they told me, was what to do about the chiefs and then the families who had come.
Thank you very much, Leader. We want to discharge you. You are discharged. If we have any further questions, we'll come back to you, sir. Thank you for attending upon this committee.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
The next witness will be Honorable Minister for Roads and Highways, Honorable Kwame Governs Agbodza. Then Honorable Minister for Creative should be getting ready.
Wanga tutu nano kakra wanga jawni se onko say chini nsembi wo ho besa bisa no a majority leader and a leader of government business or parliament Honorable Mahama Ayariga.
Touching the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Honorable Kwame Governs Agbodza, you've watched the video. Can you tell us what you know about what happened here on that fateful 30th January 2025?
Thank you, Chairman. Having been the immediate past majority chief whip, I know vettings happen after the appointment committee normally have their pre-sitting meetings and agree on things. And in the case of the particular incident, the committee had a master plan as to how to vet the nominees. I had an opportunity to, though I was no longer a member of the committee after I was appointed, to sit in just to support colleagues. Much of the initial vettings went without incident. it is not unusual for members of the committee to disagree on how many and what time to start, but eventually, normally, the majority side, which is government, prevail in what to be is supposed to be done. My understanding is that if you all notice, the committee started vetting, but on a particular day of Wednesday before the Thursday incident, though a number of colleagues were scheduled to be vetted, there was a decision to bring in Mr. Vomawo to appear before the appointment committee. It meant that all colleagues who were scheduled to appear on the Wednesday on the master list, or master program, couldn't be vetted. Though many of them have also made arrangements for those who they want to come and give them moral support, have already made plans and were almost ready. In fact, some of them were in town. So it meant that all who actually were supposed to be vetted on the Wednesday have to be shifted to the Thursday. As said by the leader, I know Honorable Ablakwa wanted to be vetted a week before the week into which the incident happened. They couldn't give him the opportunity to be vetted. So originally, Honorable Ablakwa was supposed to be vetted on the Thursday. So if anybody says Honorable Ablakwa was being smuggled into Thursday, that is not true. He was originally supposed to be vetted on the Thursday. So he prepared. The challenge happened when I think we had to shift almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who were supposed to be vetted on the Wednesday to be added to the Thursday. Then it became an issue of an attempt to negotiate who should we take. The minority insisted we should only do 3. And that, if you remember, that was like a standard. But we had 60 ministers to go in a short period of time. I noticed that they insist we are vetting 3, and the majority will say we are vetting more than 3. In the period, and I unofficially participated in part of the roadside discussions. So if the discussion is going beyond a certain time, they say, okay, you let's go and start. The minority takes it that what they said the last time before we entered the vetting was that we want to vet 3. The majority believes, no, we are not vetting 3, we are vetting all these people. So just on record, on the Wednesday, the spillover from the Wednesday, which is about 5, added to the 3 originally scheduled, which was supposed to be Honorable Ibrahim Tia, Samuel Nate, and Honorable Akujeto were originally supposed to be vetted Thursday, the 30th of January. So if we have a situation where 5 plus 3 are supposed to be vetted, that decision has to be made by the committee and have some leeway. So if anybody says we were originally to vet 3, we give in and added 1, making it 4, and somebody is trying to make it 5, that is not entirely the situation. The situation was that the appointment committee elected not to vet on Wednesday, and people have made plans to be vetted on Wednesday and Thursday, and they ought to know that they should have been ready to vet 8 people on the day of 30th January. On the particular issue, what I saw, it's not unusual for members of parliament to argue. This house is a house of debate, and we argue forcefully, depending on how you feel about an issue. So we argue on the floor, at committees. So nothing on that day you look to me as a former whip as an unusual situation. Where it got difficult for me is when, out of lack of agreement, I saw my colleagues on the minority side, and I made this point on the floor, when the minority side started having a go directly at the clerk of the committee. For me, that was not right, because like I said on the floor, in Parliament, we are all not blind. We have parliamentary service staff. We have members of Parliament are known by their party colors, except independent people. But for us to see colleagues begin to identify his NDC, his NPP, for me, I knew something was not right. And so I got really shocked. So all I could do was to pull back and watch. And unfortunately, colleagues, and I saw my colleague, Minority Chief Whip, insisting, and I agree with him. He's a whip. We need to hold a certain line given to him, and this is what whips do. You are given an instruction, and you try to hold that line. We are either for it or not for it. So initially, when he got up and said, "We are not having it," I've done same in the past. We are not doing it. Where it got a bit difficult, then I saw my whip, Honorable Dapamekpo, approaching the other side of the chairman saying, "No, we are doing it. We are government. We need to get this done." But even then, it wasn't even an issue. Then some other colleagues on the minority side, in the video you could see, maybe they couldn't see that the video was capturing them, begin to turn their backs towards the table and begin to open up the gap between the closing of the table and pulling the table, to the extent that when that appears not to be working for them, you could hear, I don't have to tell you, you could hear people, all sorts of things, until it got to a point where you saw colleagues beginning to take the chairs on which they are sitting and placing them on the table. At that point, everybody in the world knows this is not right. And I saw Honorable, the respected majority leader came in, tried to appeal to people to calm down. Then a particular colleague, I was shocked, even came in front of me, took my console and ripped the cable off and smashed it on the table. So if you watch that,
sorry, can you mention it? Because
no, I said I was shocked. I couldn't tell exactly, but all I realized was that by the time I realized the equipment in front of me.
But you can identify him.
I didn't see him in the video doing it. That is what I'm saying. That okay. I realized my equipment was damaged. I'm sure if you watch the entire spectrum of the video, you will see who was damaging the equipment. Okay. And then I saw one of the tables go up and came down. It went up with 4 legs, came down with 3 legs. I don't know what happened to the other leg. And
Honorable Minister, we watched all the videos where you were seated. We didn't see any of our colleagues pulling. We saw some videos, some colleagues pulling out some of the cable, not from your side. So we have those evidence there. And so we want to take that one out because we did not see it. If you have evidence that you can show it to the committee, then that person can be surcharged. Okay. But the ones that we saw, we have evidence of it.
Okay. So you will notice that the table where you are sitting is you are at the center of 2 tables. When the first table on your left-hand side was ripped off, we needed to put all those gadgets back onto the only table left, heading to where the head of the table was. So I'm not even a member of the committee. So I'm saying the console in front of me, because I wasn't given one console to speak because I did not have audience at the committee. So if you watch, we need to place back those equipment which were supposed to be on this table back on the available table. So when I say the console in front of me, I wasn't having one myself. But you notice that in the video, you see that there are many broken ones in front there. So for me, all I can say is it's an unfortunate situation. I totally support our colleagues to, at the moment, continue to serve their constituents pending the outcome of the report from this committee to plenary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, do you have questions for the witness?
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I'm just trying to ascertain the timeline. The console that was ripped away from you, was this after the other table that had been broken was taken out, or was this before? I'm just trying to understand.
No, it's like I said from the beginning. I said I didn't know exactly who ripped off, but I heard words. Muntiti
continue to serve their constituents pending the outcome.
No, Muntutu, I think Muntutu was when they were about the table, the leg of the table. That is what I heard. Then, if you watch the videos, you will see somebody removing the connections of this. Those were the ones that were placed in front of us there. So just to make the clarity.
Honorable Minister, well, I mean, from the tree where there's the Mon tree and Mon 2, which are two different things. And usually in the video, we actually heard the two different words used in two different contexts. But what I'm trying to ascertain is not who ripped it. What I'm trying to ascertain is whether this destruction to the console happened after that table was taken away from the room, because you're saying that everything was put on this table. What I'm trying to ascertain is whether the destruction to this microphone you're referring to happened after the table had been moved, or this happened before that other table was removed.
I think sitting from where I was sitting, I thought some of them were destroyed on the table before the table was removed, and they were placed back on the only table available.
Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, do you think that the response time for interventionists, let me put it that way, for this whole episode, I think that the response time was slow, or maybe the marshals should have come in a bit earlier, or what, in your judgment, as you are here, what do you think?
As a whip, a former whip, it is a delicate balance for marshals and the police in Parliament to intervene if issues are about us. As much as they want to protect us, they are hesitant to fully deploy if it's about us. And I noticed that because I was a whip. Now, it's not as if they couldn't have, in my mind, physically restrain and take some people who we all saw in the video, obviously misbehaving out. But these are colleagues, members of Parliament. Their response time at time was spot on. What to do in the particular situation is a difficulty, and I don't believe even today, they still have the answers. But the solution would have been that members of Parliament, as we are, if we schedule to vet 5 people on Wednesday, have written to them and elect to bring in Mr. Vomawo and spend the whole day on him. In fact, I was encouraging them, after Mr. Vomawo's have been dealt with, let's go ahead and vet the rest of the people. After we have elected to invite people or prompt them for vetting, and elect not to vet them, and they are in anticipation of being added to the next day. And who says we've not vetted 8 people on the day before? The people decide that we are not going to vet anybody, and now rather pick and choose from the people who were not vetted on Wednesday, and say that for the Thursday, the original people shouldn't be vetted. I think that is where the problem was. If we had agreed to vet all the people that couldn't have been vetted on the Wednesday, in addition to the Thursday, there shouldn't have been any issue at all. So that is how I see it.
Honorable Kwame Buah, I'm sure you'll permit me to call you Kwame.
I'm Kwame.
The day that you, Honorable Vomawo was smuggled in. I thought that was what he said. He was not scheduled, but he was added on when he had not been scheduled. Is that correct?
Well, on the master schedule of the appointment committee, I did not see a schedule to invite Mr. Vomawo. So those words, smuggle, actually are your own words. I didn't use it.
Okay. Now, on that day that Mr. Vomawo was invited, how many people were vetted?
No one was vetted, but 5 were scheduled.
So that day he was the only person that was interrogated.
Yes, he was the only person who sat where I was for.
Okay, I get it. So it means that all the 5 were pushed to the next day. All the 5 that were scheduled to be vetted were pushed to, that was Wednesday, isn't it? Were pushed to Thursday.
Yes, so on the master list that I have, on the Wednesday, the 29th of January, Honorable Rashid Perpo was supposed to be vetted at 9 a.m. Honorable Ibrahim Mutala at 11, Honorable Kofi Idi at 1 p.m., Honorable Joseph Bukari Nikbe at 3 p.m., and Honorable Isifu Seidu at 5 p.m. None of them were vetted on the Wednesday. And on the Thursday, those who were supposed to be vetted, Ibrahim Tia at 9 a.m., Honorable Samuel Nate George at 11 a.m., and Honorable Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa at 1 p.m. So that is what the original situation was. But the same committee decided, and rightly so, to invite Honorable Vomawo because of the unfortunate comment he made.
Sorry, Mr. Vomawo.
Mr. Vomawo. So that is what actually caused this. So the center of the difficulty was not vetting on Wednesday. And instead of vetting the people who were originally scheduled for Thursday, they rather wanted to pick and choose people who were not vetted on Wednesday and vet them. That is what the problem was.
Okay, so on the next day, that was the Thursday, instead of the committee vetting 3 people, they were now supposed to vet 8. Is that correct?
I would have thought, being fair to colleagues who were supposed to be vetted on Wednesday and Thursday, they could have vetted all of them because they knew before deciding not to vet anybody on Wednesday that what it meant was that to catch up with the schedule, you need to plan to vet people who were originally supposed to be vetted on Wednesday in addition to the original Thursday scheduled people.
So from what you're saying and looking at the timetable, it would have been possible if they decided to complete or to go through all the 8 on the Thursday.
Chairman, I sincerely believe they could have vetted 8 people on that day.
If you look at the timetable, one from 9, the second was to start at 11, and the third was to start at, I think, around, did you say 5? The original timetable, because you are a leader, I asked this. So looking at the timing, at what time did you think that these other 5 nominees could have been slated? Because now they started those who were supposed to be vetted from 9 o'clock. And then by the time the chaos started, I think it was around 8 p.m. and about 3 nominees were to be interviewed. From that time, when the chaos had started around the 7 or 8 p.m., was it possible to go through the 3 nominees, and what time did you think that they were going to finish?
On the original plan, the 5 were supposed to be vetted. The last person was supposed to be on the chair at 5 p.m. I'm sure there was a reason they put time against it, all of them. So if you were going to vote, and the last person, which is the fifth person on the Friday, was going to be sitting here by 5 o'clock, it would have been left with 3. And it's a committee. They can decide that they will vote the rest. After 5 o'clock, the rest of the 3 come. On the Thursday, you will notice that Honorable Kujetu was supposed to be here at 1 o'clock. What it means is that maybe by 2 o'clock, it would have been finished, and then you add the rest. So it's an issue of time management of the committee. Even in Parliament, it gets to a point the Speaker will say, you speak for 5 minutes, and they stick to it. So that one was entirely in the bosom of the committee to decide how much time they spend on each nominee.
Now ask this, because you've been a leader all this while, and to be fair to the nominees, they have invited their chiefs, their wives, their relatives, and whatnot to assist them or to attend the vetting. Did you get to know whether leadership had agreed to reschedule any of them, or it was agreed that all the 8 were going to be vetted, because all of them had brought their followers?
It's a very difficult situation. I can tell you, some of the invitees slept in spaces around in Parliament on that day. Some slept in, some colleagues need to beg other colleagues to allow their guests to sleep in their offices, because the numbers were such that colleagues couldn't have afforded hotels for them on that day. I saw some of them entering bathrooms or washrooms in the morning. So it was something the committee leadership should have considered ahead of time, that these people were already here. At a point in time, I approached the leadership and said that I know a particular nominee who had close to 100 opinion leaders, chiefs, already on the compound. At the time they were saying we can't vet them. The 100 chiefs also were already here. So when we say, what do you want him to do with them? They say, oh, they're already here. They can come tomorrow. Sadly, I can tell you, some of them slept on the premises here, which is unacceptable.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We are grateful you attend up on this committee. You are duly discharged.
And I appreciate the work.
And if we have any other questions, we will call upon you once again. Thank you so much for the insight.
Thank you, Chairman.
Colleagues, we will now invite the Minister for Tourism and Creative Arts, Honorable Jifa Ablagomashi. And please, straight to the point.
Okay, and you know, woman Kwame Agbodza government so every it drew a minister for a creative arts Jifa Gomashi, so and also Obabeka as a new
be taking presiding this morning. We want to beg of you to give us a few minutes, and then we'll take him. We'll take the chair, the deputy speaker, the oath.
I, Bernard Ahiafor, do hereby swear by the Almighty God that evidence I shall give before this committee touching the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you very much, First Deputy Speaker, Honorable Bernard Ahiafor, Member of Parliament for Akachi South. You did not watch the video. Our intention was for all witnesses to watch the video before we ask a question. But I know you were at the center of affairs. And so can you tell this committee what really transpired on the day of vetting, 30th January 2025, and in the morning of 31st January, Friday, 2025. Can you tell this committee what really transpire on that day, on those days?
Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Honorable Chairman, I perceived members of the minority side to be putting up an attitude that is very disruptive. For me, I find it very difficult to go back on my words, having agreed with you, this is what we are going to do. Now the whole thing started this way. We'll program the vetting, we'll all agree on the numbers. Sometimes on the day of the vetting, instruction will be given to the clerk that the minority will be engaged in doing one thing or the other. So instead of 9 o'clock, the vetting should rather start at 10. And when it happens that way, the entire program for that day is affected. Affected in the sense that what you have to do between 9 and 10, you will not be able to do it. And then it carries forward. That resulted into a particular day where Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare was supposed to be vetted. We've given her every assurance that she is on the list to be vetted. It got to her, the minority side said they were tired, they wouldn't be able to continue the vetting. And I was trying to persuade them that in view of the fact that some revered chiefs came all along from Techima, we can endure and vet her for that day to enable them leave the following day. This has even brought Honorable Ayariga between the majority and the, I will come to the actual.
No, we want to know what date are you talking about, especially the Honorable Adjare's story?
The date specifically, I'm not good at keeping dates, but it was the day. She was vetted the following day anyway. So when negotiations failed, we were compelled to go and apologize to the chiefs in the company of Honorable Mahama Ayariga. Then we had program from Monday to Friday. And on Tuesday, the committee's attention was drawn to an ostensible publication allegedly emanating from Mr. Oliver Baka Vomao. There were two posts. One was to the effect that the money that the nominees are paying to members of the committee.
I don't think you are interested in what happened with that.
Very well.
Right.
Very well. Then, when our attention was drawn to the media post, the committee, instead of sitting, will have to recall to a conclave. Now, at the conclave, a decision was taken by the minority side that on that Tuesday, based on that post, there should be no vetting at all. And we had to more or less plead and prevail on them that in view of the fact that we had already invited the nominees who are here with the chiefs, opinion leaders, it would be unfair not to vet them. So we should go ahead with the vetting. Honorable committee members, if you go to play the video on that Tuesday, what we agreed upon.
Was it a Wednesday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Before Mr.
Vomawa on Wednesday.
Okay.
when we even resumed sitting, you could see the posture of the minority whip that we will not continue the vetting, banging the table. We will not continue the vetting that day. I employ the committee members to look at the proceedings on that Tuesday. So that was the posture. We had to permeate our way through to be able to do the vetting of the people selected for that day. Now at conclave, we agree that Wednesday we'll deal with the issue pertaining to Oliver Baker Vomawa. Then thereafter, we'll continue to do vetting. Again, the posture from the minority side was that Tuesday, there would be no vetting. That Wednesday, there will be no vetting on Wednesday. Life is all about give and take. As a result, we are not able to vet any nominee on Wednesday, and then we use the Wednesday to deal with the issues pertaining to Mr. Oliver Baker Vomawa. Though we closed early because of the decision that there was not going to be vetting, we then used the period to task the clerk with the responsibility to merge that Wednesday with Thursday. The nominees that are to be vetted on Wednesday that we couldn't do, she should merge it with Friday. And then let's look at the number. Now the number became 8. And at a meeting, we've decided that if on average we have to use 2 hours on one person, then that would have been 16 hours of sitting. It would have been too much, given the fact that some people may be vetted within 1 hour. We agreed to do the first 6. First, it was the first 5. Then I received a call from Honorable Minority Leader that he is okay, we can add a candle to be taken on that day. Therefore, 6 people were programmed to be taken. Then there was an agreement that the backlog, being the 2, should be added to the following day, which is Friday. And if we are not able to exhaust, then we can take a decision whether we are coming on Saturday or it should be Monday or Tuesday. In fact, this has also brought in Honorable Mahama Ayariga, the leader of the House. And he even came out to say that clearly we need to negotiate the Saturday because Saturday is not a working day. So therefore, if you are not able to finish on Friday and we cannot come on Saturday, then probably Monday or Tuesday will be the next available date. So I was surprised that in the morning of that Thursday, the clerk came to me to say that instead of what we have agreed upon, she has received a text message from the minority whip in the person of Anodombre, which text message she showed to me that we are only going to do 4. That is why I have a difficulty. You agree on one thing, then behind you want to do another thing. I wasn't comfortable. So I just told the clerk that whatever we agreed upon, that is what we are going to do. So on that Thursday, we had programmed to start the first person at 9 o'clock. I came to office around 8:30, about 8:45. I received a call from the assistant clerk to the effect that he had received a call from Honorable Anodompre that there will be a caucus meeting of the minority. Therefore, instead of 9 o'clock, we should again start proceedings at 10 o'clock. For me, as a member of parliament, you may not have control over a caucus meeting. So when they are going to have a caucus meeting, I have no problem about it. So I have decided to walk to the chamber. Then on my way to the chamber, I met few MPs from the minority side and asked, I understand you are having a caucus meeting. Are you not attending the caucus meeting? Only for me to be told that there was no caucus meeting. So 10 o'clock, I have decided to start the vetting. And when they walk in after I have started, I told them in a plain language that I do not like the seat. We are all members of parliament. If you have a challenge of a caucus meeting, I would agree with you. But a situation where you do not have a caucus, but you deceive me in order to delay the proceedings of that day, to say that you have a caucus meeting, I won't take it candidly. And that is not the way we should be going. The response was that if they mean caucus meeting, it doesn't mean the entire minority caucus. As if I do not know the meaning placed on the caucus in our own standing orders. I took it in a good faith and we were proceeding. I was surprised after vetting the Minister for Transport. Based on the agreement, I asked the Minister designate for Health to take his seat. It was there that I realized that we are tired, we will not do Honorable Akando. Akando will not be vetted today in a very rowdy manner. Based on my posture, I was engaging the minority leader to the effect that you said you are comfortable for Akando to be taken today. What has changed? What really has changed? Mostly the response will be that it is not me, I am under pressure. It's not me, I am under pressure. I'm also a politician, I understand. So I was making an attempt to persuade them that in view of the fact that Honorable Akando had to bring the chiefs and opinion leaders from Juaboso, and he being the last person, there are instances where vetting of the committee will end at 10, 10:30, 11. And this is just getting to about 8 o'clock. So we could accommodate and take Honorable Akando for that day, so that the rest of the two will be shifted to the following day. And if we are not able to finish the following day, then we could consequently adjust ourselves and finish the following week. Then what I realized was that whilst that negotiation was ongoing, I heard the minority leader requesting that they should call some people into the vetting room. And in no time, they started walking to the vetting room. And that very day, minority leader was so harsh to the deputy, second deputy whip, Jerry Ahmed Shaib. I intend not to repeat the words inflicted on him that very day. So I realized that they were under some kind of instruction from their leader to do certain things. Honorable members of the committee, let me place on record that there are some instances where my ranking member will ask their side that they should all stand up and put on the microphone. And by putting on the microphone, all other microphones will be disabled. And you cannot do anything when all the microphones were on. So to some extent, I do not really understand what they want. Because, honorable members, by my level of tolerance and the way and the manner I have accommodated them, sometimes I do not expect it to be treated in a particular way. And as I said, life is about give and take. We were prepared to give and we were prepared to take. So I also expected them to also give and take. So before I could realize, somebody said something in tree and they started pulling the cables, and I mean that was a pandemonium. The whole place became very hostile. And if you can watch the video carefully, I was so much surprised about the incidents of that day, and I was just sitting down looking at them. As usual, the honorable leader came in trying to restore order, but they wouldn't listen. And once the video accounts is before you, I intend not to repeat whatever happened, because the video would speak louder than my voice. I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Bernard. I hope I'm allowed to call you.
Yes, please.
Bernard, because I might forget myself if I always have to say second deputy speaker. First deputy speaker. Congratulations again on your high office.
Thank you.
It's finished. So, colleagues, if you have some questions for him.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable First Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the committee. From the account that you have given, I think that there is a big problem about scheduling and then being firm about your scheduling. Would you want to agree with me that this whole problem came about as a result of the decision you took not to vet nominees who were scheduled for Wednesday? And you knew very well that these nominees had invited people, chiefs, their friends, their relatives, and whatnot. And yet, the committee was persuaded by the minority not to carry out vetting. And that is what actually created the congestion and the subsequent challenges that we have. I believe that.
Thank you very much for your question. I understand the impulse of your question. Honorable members, danger begets man. It is the cry of distress that will summon for relief. Our integrity as members of the committee were at stake. In the history of our Fourth Republic, every vetting cycle will be tagged with corruption. And I state corruptions and corruption-related matters. So for the committee to be tagged with corruption, which I know it is not true, any reasonable person guided by all those considerations that regulate the conduct of human affairs would agree that we should deal with the issue affecting our image before continuing the vetting. And honorable members, on that Wednesday, I was with the view that we should deal with the issues relating to Oliver Baker-Vomawo then we can continue the vetting. If we are not able to exhaust all of them that day, then the backlog will be very, very few. But the posture was not favorable. Remember, I told the committee that when our attention was drawn to the post on Tuesday, our friends from the minority have already taken a decision that there would be no vetting until that issue was resolved. That was the reason for me asking the committee to take a look at the proceedings on Tuesday, particularly the time that we had to start the vetting on Tuesday. A lot of negotiation had gone into continuing the proceedings even on that Tuesday. So we were not successful in agreeing to do the vetting on Wednesday, and that has accounted largely to the backlog. So I will not say it has not contributed to the incidents, it has contributed to the incidents. But I have been in Parliament for a very long time. You can agree and disagree. Even before the committee, there were agreement and disagreement, and we normally suspend. So if you watch the proceedings, there are instances where I will suspend proceedings to go and judge. And even that money, we did some kind of consultation, and then we agree on the 6 people to be vetted. So I was surprised what really changed when the very last person that you reach out to me to say that you are comfortable for him to be vetted that day. When I invited him to take the seat, then this whole thing have started. So between the time that they communicated to me that he can be added as the 6th person and the time that I invited him to take the seat, I do not know what went on among our colleagues at the minority side.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. We have a lot of questions for you being the chairperson, so please be concise and precise so that we can finish with you for you to be able to go and preside over the House. So please be concise and
Thank
precise.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Senator.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My question is a twofold question. My first question is, at any point when the situation deteriorated, did you call for order? That's the part A. And, okay, first, that's the first question.
Yes, I did. You can hear me shouting, order, let there be order, honorable members, let there be order, let there be order. So I was trying to restore order when word was said in tree, cables, I'm not good at tree. So immediately that has been said, they started pulling the cables and my microphone was disconnected, and no matter how I shout, nobody can hear me.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My second question is, at any point after you tried to call for order and that was not happening, did you attempt to suspend the sitting of the committee?
Well, at that point, I really do not see the need. I thought by saying order, order, and engaging the minority leader and the ranking member on the side as to what has really changed resulting into this, I thought the two of us could resolve it among ourselves and proceed to conduct the vetting. So once that engagement was going on between me and the minority leader, the tree word came and they started pulling the cables and the whole thing just started. I do not know whether the rest of the minority members were having the feelings that my engagement with the minority leader will result into calm and the proceedings ongoing, and that word spilled out and the whole thing became uncontrollable. I believed a little patience would have resolved the issue between me and the minority leader, but he also didn't have.
Thank you. So just to make sure, you did not call for a suspension of the sitting. Very well. My final question is, at any point, did the marshals enter the committee room on your instruction? Or did you call for the marshals to enter?
Yes, I asked my usher to bring in the marshal because I sit as a chair with my ears widely open.
Honorable Vincent. Chair, good. Thank you very much. The Speaker, would you be surprised that those who were involved in the scuffle, we had one person who was not a member of parliament, not part of parliamentary staff. Let me use the word, he was an imposter, yet he was a stranger, yet he was part of the scuffle.
Well, I won't be surprised. As I indicated, there was a voice saying, call them in. So I wouldn't be able to know exactly who were requested to be called in. And I must say that we have fresh members of parliament that I am yet to be familiar with. So it's difficult to say this is a member of parliament, this is not a member of parliament. But I already told the committee that they said call them in. And I wouldn't know who exactly were requested to be called in. So it is possible that there may be an imposter called in.
Yeah, Honorable, last one, sorry. Just to ask if you recommend in future to beef up the security, especially around this activity, because looking at what happened and then what we have also heard, the number of people that come along with nominees, would you recommend that in future at least we put some limitation on the number of people that will come along with nominees?
Thank you very much, exactly so. And I must admit that on this occasion, if you look at the letters written to the nominees, there is a maximum beyond which you must not go. That is 10. But I must say this has been grossly abused by most of the nominees. The letter says 10.
Honorable Bid.
10.
Honorable Bid. Question? Okay. Honorable Izara.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Speaker, since this is your first time of chairing the appointment committee, do you feel that minority showed some bad faith during this episode?
Thank you very much. I have been in minority and I came to Parliament in majority. I have been involved in committee proceedings. I must say that sometimes I see frustration on part of the minority because there were some external pressure on them, and that has resulted into them doing certain things that ordinarily should not happen. Mr. Chairman, if I may be give you a bit background. Honorable Emmanuel Buah was scheduled to be vetted on Monday. Then on Saturday in the evening, I received a call from the minority leader to the effect that
some people are not too happy about the last State of the Nation address of the former president, particularly the words used by Honorable Emmanuel Kofi Buah. They felt that the president has been denigrated. As a result, there was a pressure not to proceed to vet Honorable Buah. And I said, no, this will be real difficulty. I would find it very difficult to accede to the request, particularly if he has been written to appear on Monday. So I reached out to the clerk of the committee, and there was a confirmation that he had been handed over a letter to appear on Monday. So I called back to say that it's going to be very difficult. The event that unfolded resulted into the influencing the minority leaders' behavior towards the clerk. Because there was an issue to the effect that the clerk should take me as a chairman out of the arrangement to vet or not to vet Buah on Monday, Honorable Emmanuel Buah on Monday, and take the responsibility, take him also out, and then postpone Emmanuel Buah, which was difficult for the clerk to do. And I believe the minority leader is not happy about this. So I'm of the view that they were also under some kind of pressures informing the way they go about doing certain things. There was a pressure that Honorable Sam George should not be vetted. Honorable Ofosu-Adjare should be the last to be vetted. So a lot has been happening.
Thank you very much, Honorable Emmanuel.
Mr. Chairman, this is the first time you are chairing a committee in this house, is that correct?
No, that is not correct, because I entered Parliament in 2013, and the very first post I was given was the Vice Chairman for the Judiciary Committee, and I have occasion of chairing the Judiciary Committee. Then in my second term, I became the Vice Chairman for the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, and you are aware that I've also been chairing the Subsidiary Legislation Committee. Then I became a ranking member for Constitutional, Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. So this is actually not my first experience chairing, but this is my first experience chairing the Appointment Committee.
Yeah, but what you said, the explanation you've given me, says that you are advised to some committees, but this is the first time you are chairman of a committee. Is that correct?
No, I was vice chairman for Judiciary Committee in my first term. So I had the opportunity to chair in the absence of the chairman. Then in my second
chairing a committee, but being holding the position of a chairman of a committee, this is the first time, because you were vice chair. I'm not saying this is the first experience of chairing a meeting.
Well, your word used is that this is your first time of chairing a committee. Chairing a committee is one thing, and holding the position of a chairman of a committee is another thing.
Okay, so I'm asking the fact that this is the first time you are holding the position of a chairman.
Exactly so.
Right. Would you agree with me from your narrative that prior to when the Thursday meeting, you were prejudiced against the minority?
It is far from that.
Why did you say we should go and look at their faces on the Tuesday proceedings?
Well, the whole thing emanated from Tuesday, and the actual rioting started on that Tuesday. I said so because over the publication, we have taken a decision at conclave to deal with the issue. So I was highly surprised that we'll resolve that at conclave. Then we'll come to the city, and a member at conclave will be hitting the table that there will be no vetting. There will be no vetting. There will be no vetting. That is why I'm saying that I am surprised about certain turn of event. Because for me, if I agree to do something with you, why would I change my mind all of a sudden and come and be doing something different?
Yeah, I think you have said so, that you are a man of your own words. You don't want you to be taken unaware of the things that you've agreed on from the onset. And so maybe my vice chair will be guided as he asks the next question.
Okay. I know Bedam very well. You said along the line, minority leader called, you received a phone call that Honorable Akando should be added to the list of the nominees that we're going to engage on Thursday. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm speaking on oath, and this is confirmed.
I have no reason to doubt you.
Yes.
My next question is that when
yes, let me conclude my answer. Yes, and this was followed by his directive to the minority whip, who also called the clerk of the committee that Akando should be added.
Now, when you received this call, did you inform the rest of the committee members that you were going to deal with Honorable Akando on that day?
Well, thank you very much. We have chairman and we have ranking. And you know, chairman leads the majority side and ranking leads the minority side. So what I did was to inform my members in the morning that Akando will be added. And then properly, the minority leader also communicated with his members, leading to the minority whip placing a call to the clerk of the committee.
Mr. Chairman, did you find out whether the minority side had been communicated to so far as this additional nominee was concerned?
Well, I do not expect to reach an agreement with the minority leader, out of which the minority whip will call the clerk, and the rest of the members may not be aware. But I'm not in a position to tell whether the other two have been informed, because there were 4 on the committee. So 2 was involved. So it's left with the other 2.
Mr. Chairman, with a little patience, the scaffold that we witnessed could have been prevented. You agree with me on that?
100%.
Now, the case of the minority was that they were being surprised. Were you surprised to hear that they were being ambushed?
I will be highly surprised. Highly surprised.
Severally, you mentioned...
I said so because some of the changes that were made, the minority leader and the whip has instances of making their input on the table. And maybe probably the clerk of the committee will be able to produce that particular record, because when we agreed, then I would then instruct the clerk that this is what we have agreed upon. So the clerk should have some of those arrangements that were altered by ticking and cancellation, and they can subject it to a forensic to establish that it is in the handwriting of the minority leader and sometimes the whip, the minority whip.
You have said repeatedly that you had gone into conclave with the committee. How many people did you agree to vet on that Thursday?
That Thursday, original list that was not altered was 3. But because we didn't work on Wednesday, the agreement was that they should merge the 2. And after merging the 2, we realized that it is 8 and will not be able to do the 8. So we've taken a decision to do the first 5. And there was a follow-up call that we should add a candle, making 6.
So what about Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa? He was supposed to be the 7th person?
Honorable members, Okudzeto Ablakwa was one of the original people to be vetted on Thursday. So if you see his letter slated Thursday.
Honorable First Deputy Speaker, you just mentioned that during your conclave meetings, you've agreed to add Honorable Akando. That will make it 6. And so Honorable Okudzeto, even though he has original letter slated for Thursday, because the committee agreed that you are going to have that meeting, that you agree that Akando should be added to the 5 members who are supposed to be vetted on Wednesday, shifted to Thursday. So in a nutshell, Okudzeto was not part of the second agreement that you had with your members.
Thank you very much. This is a very important question. Honorable members of the committee, sometimes some of the nominees take less than 1 hour before us. So the instruction to the clerk of the committee is that she should hold the list of the 8. If you are able to go beyond the 6, then they could also be taken. Because sometimes it's difficult to predict the length of time that the committee will take to vet one person. And having watched the videos, you can agree with me that some people were vetted 45 minutes, less than 1 hour, they are also vetted. So if we are able to use the same approach, it is possible we could even say that, oh, we want to vet 6 people, but looking at the time that we have finished the vetting, is it possible to take the additional 2, meaning that the whole list is exhausted? So we didn't have a block mind on that, going beyond the 6. We never had a block mind on that. And as a matter of fact, if you had even started early and there was no 1 hour delay, we could have even done more than the 6.
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the chaos engendered because of poor planning by the committee.
Well, I am of exception in the sense that how could poor planning lead to an arrangement of a timetable?
I say poor planning because as of 8 p.m., we still had, and according to the list and what we have received, you still had 2 nominees waiting with their followers, their chiefs, their relatives, and whatnot, as of 8 p.m.
Honorable member, I indicated before the committee that our target is 6. The rest would have been a surplus to the committee, depending upon the way the time was used.
So, it's not my last one. So you say the 6 where you had planned to vet 6, and 2 more were waiting. So if you had finished, or you were supposed to do the 8 in all. So it was, if we are able to, then the others would be vetted. And therefore you had invited all the nominees to come with their followers.
Honorable member, clearly speaking, because of the backlog, the number went to 8. But before the backlog, the nominees were written to. They were given letters. So it is not the case that we have agreed on the 6 and again issued letter for 2 to be on standby. The number was as a result, because when we agreed on the timetable for the week, the clerk was instructed to give letters according to the calendar agreed upon, according to the program, and then the time frame. So the clerk has already communicated that to them. And it was the 8th for that day was as a result of the backlog, which we have to deal with. So it's not the case that they have been written a letter after the backlog to say that we have deliberately invited 8 when we know we can only deal with 6.
Honorable Ahiafor, you insisted when, according to you, some of the minority leaders told you that they were having a caucus meeting, and then you, on your own, found out that there was no caucus meeting. At that point, you went ahead to do the vetting without the minority. Is that correct?
No, it is far from that. Honourable members, I waited and I entered the vetting room exactly at 10 o'clock. That they changed the 9 o'clock to. So we commenced proceeding that day around 10:25.
So if you started on the time that you agreed on, why are you telling us that they said they were going for a caucus meeting and they were not?
I have been a member of the caucus. How do you reach out to your caucus members to attend meeting? So I became surprised. Yet I have decided to accommodate by shifting the commencement of the vetting from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And by 10 o'clock, I walk into the vetting room and we commence vetting around 10:25.
Mr. Chair, what I'm saying is that, don't you think you would have presented it better if you had said that we initially agreed at 9, but later we agreed to commence proceedings at 10. But we started at 10, but some of the members or the minority were late. Don't you think that would have been better?
Honorable Animelu Entry, it will interest you.
Address the chair.
Honorable Chairman, it will interest you to know that sometimes we would agree to start vetting at 9 o'clock. The majority side will come and be waiting for the minority side. Well, you can watch all the proceedings.
Honorable Speaker, even today we agreed to start at 10, but we started at 10:30.
Yes.
So it's possible.
Yes.
Relax. This is a friendly chat.
I'm more than relaxed.
Honorable Nyimedu, this is your last question.
Well, I will not ask the question again, but I will advise my brother as the chair that with little restraint, I would want the chairman to be very accommodating, and then we can have a free life. Thank you.
This is a free advice.
Thank you very much, but with the free advice, I want to place on record that I have been very tolerant and accommodative.
I know.
As a result of which the general public even have the feeling that my level of tolerance was too much, that I was even weak.
I know the two of you have been friends. And you are brothers. So whether you are tolerant or not tolerant, the two of you know each other. And so please, let's keep it like that. On that note, First Deputy Speaker, we want to discharge you. Thank you very much for attending upon this committee. We will now take Honorable...
Thank you very much for having me.
Honorable Jifar Ablagomashi. Please, we have, this should be not more than 10 minutes. We have other colleagues coming in, they've called that they want to come. And so please let it be as short as possible. Thank you.
I, Agbodza Gomashi,
swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth. Swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jifa Abla Gomashi, Minister Abla Jifa Gomashi. Thank you for attending upon this committee. As you watched the video, you saw yourself in the video. Please, can you tell us, this committee, what really happened on that fateful day?
Good morning again to everybody. Thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity. On that fateful day, I saw the absence of tolerance. I saw the absence of camaraderie. I saw the absence of the respect for this institution called the Parliament of Ghana. On that fateful day, I saw total disrespect for a woman who has risen through the ranks to be the clerk to the committee that was vetting nominees for His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana. I saw an attack on the woman and the inability of leadership of the committee to protect her. I saw total chaos in the committee room and the destruction of property belonging to the Republic of Ghana. Chairman, that is what I saw, that's what I felt, and that's what I've come to share with you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Committee members, this was what Honorable Abla Jifa Gomashi saw. Any question?
Okay. So you confirm that the video that was shown to us have not been doctored?
I can confirm that it is not doctored and it is the reflection of the person who took it from a certain angle in the room. I mean that I saw more than what was shown on the screen. Thank you.
Honorable Gisela.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Do you think, from where you sat, from the videos I saw, you were sitting from the middle to the north end of the table. What this scenario, was it misunderstanding, not intolerance, or what could have triggered it?
Thank you very much, Chair. I sat right where my handbag is right now, and the clerk to the committee sat to my right. I think that fellow feeling, mutual respect for one another, and the office, and this office, could have averted all that happened, if that answers your question.
Okay, since members do not have more questions for you, let me find out Oh, you have a question. Okay, let me ask my question then. I'll allow you. What were you doing here on that day? You are not a member of the appointment committee. What were you doing here?
Yes, Chairman. I am not a member of the committee, but I received an invitation from my colleagues who were nominated and were going to be vetted. Specifically, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa and Honorable Samuel Jatta George, and I obliged to attend to them. Thank you.
Honorable Bid.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. Mr. Chairman, from the video that we saw, we observed that you got up from your seat and then stood up. What did you intend to do when you stood up?
To defend the clerk, really, it was difficult to watch what was happening, and I felt helpless. I saw that she's a very calm woman. I asked her, can you hear my side asking you to swear in Honorable Akando? And she calmly, with poise and finesse, said, the clerk to Parliament is in the room. I take instructions from him, not from you. And I thought, but, sorry. It was really hard to watch. I'm sorry.
Just a follow-up. So your action was not to participate in what was going on.
Mr. Chairman, I'm a member of Parliament and lucky to be, or blessed to be, the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. I am standing on the shoulders of all women who have fought, including the amazing Haji Ladi who is sitting at this table, to dare to be who I am today. And it was hard for me to watch another woman who had also worked hard and was here in her capacity as a representative of Parliament, being virtually lynched by a man who should know better. I impulsively just stood up to ask him, what are you going to do? Because he kept saying, I will deal with you. And because she couldn't speak, I impulsively thought that I had become Yasatua for a moment. And I got up to ask him what he was going to do to her. Because it was the right thing to do at that moment. I'm not sure if I would allow myself to shout across a room like that again. But on that day, it was the best I could do. Thank you.
So finally, who was that person who was shouting?
It was the it was the minority leader, Honorable Kwame Afanyumaking, who was shouting across the room.
That would be fine for that will be all for now.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abla Jifa Kumashi. Thank you for attending upon this committee.
It's a duty I've performed with pleasure. Thank you.
When we need you, we'll call on you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we now have Honorable Umar?
Ewie no nea ofoforo so aba no so eba be ma ni ni onim oba be ka ne nyina so e wo committee no enimiti yan cross over back to Parliament.
swear by the Almighty Allah
that the evidence I shall give before this committee,
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue, shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
Thank you, Honorable, for responding to the invitation of the committee. The chairman has just stepped out briefly and has asked me to hold the space. If you could just kindly introduce yourself first and foremost, and then proceed to just let us know where you were on the day, and I believe you saw the video, and just to confirm whether you were the person we identified in the video. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Alhassan Umar, MP for Zapsu. I also a member of the appointment committee. I was seated where the clerk is, next to Ayariga. I think I observed all the proceedings to the end. And if you watch the video, you'll see me being surprised, pointing fingers or hand to people on the opposite side for the activities that was unveiling before us and the national platform, and how we were bringing Parliament and the title Honorable to disrepute. That was my concern. Thank you.
Miss, any questions?
So, honorable member, I hope you have, can you tell us what happened on the, I know you're a member of the appointment committee. Can you just brief us briefly, because the cameras are needed in the chamber now, and so after two of you, the rest, we will do it without the cameras, because we have to go to the chamber.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you. On that day, which happened, which was Thursday, standing on the account of my chairman, who is also the first deputy speaker, we had preempted the Wednesday vetting. And so we had a backlog of nominees that had to be vetted. On arrival, we entered the hall, the committee hall, to do the vetting at 10. Whilst we were here, our colleagues, the minority chief whip, came and said, no, we cannot have the vetting go on. We needed to go into conclave to meet. So we followed them up to the committee room adjacent to this place. And when we look at the list, they said no, they are going to do 4, and a candle will be included. But we said, look, we didn't do we preempted Wednesday, and so those backlog, if we are able to finish the 4 early, then we could add some of them, and so that the overflow would be sent to Friday. And that was the agreement. Now, still the chief whip, Honorable Anudampra, was heard still yelling and not agreeing. So when we entered the hall, when we came back to the committee to start, we had finished the last person, that was transport. And the chairman asked Honorable Akando to take his seat. And when Honorable Akando came to take his seat, the minority leader stood up and said he would not agree. The chief whip of the minority got up and was banging the table. Then the non-members of the committee but belonging to minority flocked in their numbers and started disrupting the tables, pulled the tables as well as the microphones. And when chairman said the clerk should read the oath and allow the nominee to take the oath, then the opponents, that is Honorable Anunom and Co, started to, they put on their mics. And so there was no way any mic could work again. And that brought it to a...
Sorry, they are not opponents. They are the minority.
Thank you, Chairman, for the guidance. And so then they were not still satisfied. All what we saw was that one of them, the deputy minority whip, came to the nominee to prevent him from taking his oath. If you watch the video, you see him. And so we were surprised. And that was when the scaffold continued.
Can you give us the name of the people who went to prevent Honorable Akando from taking his oath?
Honorable Ahmed Shaibu, who came here, and if you watch the video, you'll see him. Jerry Shaibu. I think it's Jerry Shaibu, MP for Wager. Okay, MP for Wager. So they came to prevent him. And so the nominee also, supporters and sympathizers, prevented him. And so there was scuffle. Then there was this MP, a non-member of the committee, but I believe one of the people called in to fight. Former Deputy Minister for Trade. I was just seated across. And he pulled the second desk. At that time,
that's Honorable Michael Ochri Befi.
Exactly, I don't know his name. Okay. And so he pulled the table, widening the space. As Honorable Anuno and Co had also pulled the first table. So the space started widening. And so everything started, even at the time we had some cups of coffee, everything started dismantling. So you could see that our colleagues who were still in the house also came to help, rearrange the tables. And that was when the scaffold went out of hand. And so it led to one of the tables, the first table, I saw it going up and coming down with two legs.
Okay, colleagues, we've all watched the video. It looks like he has just informed the House exactly what we saw. And so if you have any question, quick one, so that I can take the next witness.
Thank you, Chairman. My colleague, Member of Parliament for Zabzugu, I just want to find out, after the minority brought in some members, some of them were members of Parliament, were not members of the committee. We could also see some of our members who were also not members of the appointment committee. They also came in. Would you tell us that their presence helped or it also exacerbated the problem? Those from our side, because I could see that most of them came in for a purpose. So their presence, was it helpful or it really exacerbated the problem?
Thank you, Chairman. I think our colleagues came to stabilize the unwarranted attacks on the committee members, because if you look at it, the minority side from day one or from the morning, I think it started on Tuesday, were bent on not allowing the process to flow, as my chairman explained.
Yeah, I heard earlier that those MPs were called in by the leadership of the minority caucus. Did you also hear anything from the majority side that you should also try to mobilize to stabilize the situation? Did you also hear anything like that?
No, I did not hear anything from my chief whip or any member of the majority side. Maybe our colleagues saw it on the TV in their rooms, so they decided to come.
Did you also observe that apart from the members of parliament, we had someone who wasn't a member also involved? And I think he was also helping to stabilize the situation, or was debating. He wasn't a member of parliament, but he also came on board. Did you realize that?
No, you know, I'm one of the Ayariga, so a lot of the first timers and also who came after me, I'm still trying to get to know them.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Alhassan, Umar. We thank you for attending upon this committee. If we need you again, we will call on you. Thank you. You are discharged. Can we call Honorable Emmanuel Kofi Ntekunu? You were here when we showed the video. Okay. Wait.
Zamzugu MP, Honorable Umar, and Wako testify Nimia Onimun Wako Catcher Committee. No, Yagusuaha 97.9 FATV XYZ. Sabre de Wangafre, Mashabu Gonifu from Subabe Kanya, only but Yadisika and Udigua, Penifuse. Kwachi na DFA Sika and Edere. It's Maminko Pesika cry what TV ni radio in Anamima ni Entuaso 97.9 Maminko Breaking Yoke Ministry International and good young group of Asam Kakran Fantasia Kumaya Ibaba Tuaso our radio in the TV. What is fight?
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable Emmanuel Kofi Ntekunu, you're welcome. Are you a member of the appointment committee?
No, please.
So on the 30th of January, what were you doing here in this room?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. But before I proceed, the correct pronunciation of my name is Ntekuni. Ntekuni. Thank you. Yes, so...
thank you for the correction.
I am not a member of the appointment committee, but as a first entrant in the parliament, I took key interest to come here, observe and learn. So I was here to observe and learn.
So can you tell us what exactly you saw on that 30th of January when you were here?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And I'm happy you gave me the opportunity to give my vivid account of what happened on that day. Yes, I was right.
If you can summarize it for us within 5 minutes.
Right, thank you. If you watch all the videos, you see that I was all over, conspicuously and visibly seen.
You were in a light blue shirt, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, we saw you.
Thank you.
That's why we invited you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so my role was to bring calm, prevent and protect state property. I was right behind the minority group, and I saw what happened. The message came from Honorable Minority Leader to Honorable Anodrampe, and then he transmitted it to Honorable Jerry to tell the caucus members that they were not going to participate in the vetting of the nominees. So I quickly went to Honorable Jerry and told him that they needed to do that because looking at the people who came, they needed to clear them so that they can go home. Some people were from far places. He said, no, it won't happen. And then I stood aside. I engaged, in the video you saw, I engaged most of the minority groups to persuade them. And I even suggested to them that they should go into conclave and dialogue with our leadership so that this thing should not degenerate into a different thing. No, they said, not everything that you have to dialogue. So I stood aloof, aside. Then, all of a sudden, Honorable Anodrampe started issuing command that they should pull the tables apart. So in one of the videos, you will see that I was the one he shouted to ask me, who are you? So upon seeing that, I went to him and tapped at his back gently. And I said, Honorable, you are a leader. You don't need to do this and destroy the state property. And in the video, it was captured clearly. You don't need to spoil the state property. So he turned and looked at me and then quizzed me, who are you? So I calmly answered him, I'm a member of parliament for Blue West. And he said, it won't happen. That was the way he used it. It will not happen. I said, no, but you have a better way of doing this, not by agitation and aggression. So he continued with the process. So in the video you saw that I held two people's hands. One was Honorable Baefi. He attempted, just say, struggling or going physical with Honorable Besu. Yes. And then I held his hand just to prevent that. He struggled, and then I told him, calm down. You saw in the video, I was just trying to calm both sides, calming them down, calm down. It hasn't gotten to that, don't do this. So it was a smile all this while with them, persuasion and all that. Then they went ahead. The command kept coming, pull the table and the gadgets apart. That was when we also started.
The command came from who?
From Honorable Anodrampe. So that was when we also started pulling the tables apart as they pulled them, pushing them together as they were pulling them apart.
You and who?
Myself, I saw this honorable man, one
Honorable
Dagbe, and then one from Buah East. Is it Buah East?
Charles Asedu.
Charles Asedu was there, and that guy too. So, okay. So we were trying hard to keep the tables together so that the process could continue. In the process, they were overpowering us with their force. That was when Honorable Chief Whip came in to support us there so that we could keep the tables together. And then there was a space as they put the tables apart. The Honorable Jerry got in between the tables, still was pushing it away. That was when the gadget started falling apart and all that. So you saw me holding the table. It wasn't like I was trying to, destroy the table. But as Honorable Jerry was trying to pull it, we resisted it, and it felt like he has to raise it. So counter resistance must happen to bring the table down. That was when you saw me in the video raising the table. The table came down, and surprisingly, the leg, one of the legs that was in touch with the ground got broken. But the one above, one of them above, was not broken. And that was the second time I held another honorable's hand. So one honorable man intentionally broke the leg of the table. So in an attempt to do that, I held the hand.
Okay.
And then...
Who is that honorable man again? Who broke the leg intentionally?
I can identify the person by his image.
We'll be inviting you again tomorrow. Some of you will be coming back tomorrow. We've noticed that some of you were actively involved.
Yes.
Today we are just taking witnesses. And then tomorrow, those who were actively involved, including yourself, will be here again. And so we'll show you the video where you were involved, where you lifted a table or preventing the table from being lifted.
Exactly.
And so there are questions, follow-up questions that we'll be asking you tomorrow. And so I'll leave my colleagues if they have any question concerning witnessing. What he has seen, he has narrated it if you have any question. So that tomorrow we can go deeper into the main issues.
Thank you, Chairman. So, the real reason why we saw you moving around and we saw you actually very busy was to avert the distraction which was about to be caused by reason of the commission. That's the reason why you were moving around.
Honorable Chair, that's right. That is so.
According to, you said you came to observe and to learn. That was the reason why you did not get any call from the leadership of the majority caucus to come in.
Honorable Chair, no, I was here before the incident started.
Are you very proud of what you did?
Honorable, can you please?
I'm asking you whether you are very, very proud of what you observed.
Honorable Chair, no. Issue that I thought could easily be resolved amicably by dialogue or going to conclave, which I personally told them to do, that degenerated into a different thing altogether, so I wasn't proud.
And as a first timer, I knew before you came to Parliament you had a very high expectation. So what is the picture now about what you saw? What is the picture?
Honorable, parliamentarians are highly regarded and respected. What I saw here painted a different picture outside there. Have high respect for honorable members.
Honorable Zaneto.
Thank you very much. This is actually more a question for you, Mr. Chairman. Given that the witness has mentioned having identified who broke one of the table legs, given that part of the mandate of this committee is to ascertain who was part of the direct involvement of the destruction of property, would it be out of order to perhaps show footage so he can actually identify the person by face, since he does not know the person by name?
we agreed yesterday that we're going to look into the very details of breaking tables and chairs, and as well as removing the cables. That will be done tomorrow. And so tomorrow we'll invite him again to identify the culprit or the honorable member who we know, we saw it, but he might not know the person. But as he watched the video with us tomorrow, he will identify the person. Because we also who went under the table by breaking the leg on the table.
Mr. Chair, I remember, this is like a baptism of fire, isn't it?
Is that so?
This is not what you expected.
That is so.
Yes, nobody did. I think this is a lesson to all of us. Those who were in the room, those who watched it immediately online or afterwards, that there should be a bit more tolerance amongst us. And so as a first timer, don't let this be the norm. And this goes out to all first timers also. Even second timers like myself. This should not be the norm. And this is not what the public should see us do. And this goes to both the majority and the minority. Thank you. I'm sure you'll be called again tomorrow.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And you might have seen the videos, the role I played by calming both sides down. And I'm not that type, not aggressive, and I believe in dialogue and enjoying to, arrive at a concrete decision. Thank you.
Well, we are not here to praise you. We are here to assess and know those who are involved, deeply involved. And so tomorrow we'll be here again. You will see yourself lifting table, and then you will tell us whether your involvement resulted in the breaking of the table. And so you are discharged for today. We'll invite you tomorrow again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
As the cameras for the Parliament, we can go to Parliament chambers now, but we'll continue with the witness, taking the witness statement. Thank you.
I, Kwame,
swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable Kwame, we know you are not a member of the appointment committee as per the names that we have here. But on the 30th of January, we saw you in the video participating actively in the proceedings here. Can you tell us, this committee, what transpired and why were you involved in activities here on that fateful day?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Despite the fact that I'm not a permanent member,
I came to the committee as a sector rep for Agric. So I was participating. And then, Mr. Chair, by our standing order, you can look at order 2676. A member who is not a member of the committee may partake in the proceedings of committee unless the House or committee concerned determines otherwise. But a member shall not vote or move any motion nor be part of any quorum. When you look at the same order 7, when you look at 2677, a person who is not a member of a committee may attend in camera meetings of a committee subject to approval of the committee. Mr. Chair, being a member of parliament, I can participate in any committee meeting. It's only I don't have voting right as a member of parliament. So, coming to this committee to participate, I'm not doing anything different, but doing my duty as a member of parliament. That is why I'm here.
That's why you were there, not here today. That's why you were there on the 30th.
Because the committee meeting is here, that is why.
Okay. So, Honorable Gagbe, what did you witness on that day? Because we saw you in the camera, we saw you in the video, actively involved in the process.
The committee is more or less like I've been actively involved in participating in observing things in the committee. I don't miss any committee meeting because as part of the process we are learning. So I involve myself fully to learn and learn more, and so lend my support to my colleagues who have been designated as ministers of state. So I have a lot of friends. So when they are coming to vetting, I come to listen to them because it's a learning process. So I have participated in all meetings right from the beginning. But starting from Tuesday, I saw that on Tuesday there was a disruption on Tuesday in the evening. On Wednesday too, the same thing happened. That is where the speaker of the minister designate for trade and then children and women affairs also were here. They were not able to vet them, and then there are a lot of chiefs and people were here. You can imagine you bring a lot of these chiefs who are prominent chiefs with your supporters, and you are not being vetted. It's put them. Some of them were so sad. So based on that, Thursday, the Wednesday, the issue happened. I would say simply that the issue that happened is just a takeover. I see it as a coup, because if you have a committee who have membership and you have a quorum to proceed, you can proceed, but it's a takeover.
Honorable member, just tell us what you saw, what you witnessed on that day.
I say what I witnessed is like a takeover. It's exactly what happened. Because if you are in a committee, you don't want to participate, you walk out. But disrupt the activities of the committee, while the committee have quorum to proceed. So it's a takeover. That's how I look at it. And then I saw that the truth of the matter is that Akando was a proxy. And that's what I'm saying. Because
Honorable Akando
was a proxy. The reason why I say it was a proxy is because the moment Honorable Kuyato arrived and I ushered Honorable Kuyato to go and sit down, the majority leader came hard on me that I should stop what I'm doing. Why the minority leader? That why? What am I that I should stop that? And I said, so I can't usher in my own brother, offered him a seat to sit. Is it a crime? So to be truthful to you as a committee, Honorable Kuyato Blacko was the target, not Akando. Akando was just used as what? A proxy. The target, the whole thing focused on disruption, everything that happened in the committee room is because of Honorable Okuyeto Ablako. Because I was among them, I've been here with them, they were saying they will grill him, they will show him, they will not allow him to be vetted, and they say all that as a part of the strategy to disrupt his vetting. So for me, and then I heard the minority leader Before this committee, I want to tell you on authority, I might be factual. The clerk was attacked, and then was saying that he's a partisan clerk, and then why, if you swear in a candle, he will see, they will deal with him. To be truthful to this committee, the clerk in question, she's my direct auntie, and I'm a family to the clerk. So threat of such data also actually affect me myself. When I was sitting down, my auntie was being vilified, partisan person, they would deal with him and all that in the full glare of the camera. Are you inciting your people against my family to be lynched or to be killed? I was so devastated, and I was so happy about that. And even that day I have to organize press conference to condemn the minority for attacking an innocent clerk who have worked here for 19 good years without doing anything. He takes instruction from the chair. He doesn't take her own instruction. And Anodon also use word. You
Honorable Anodon.
Yes, sir, we will meet you. We will deal with you. These are the issues. Leaders in parliament, these are kind of messages coming from somebody who is working as a parliamentary staff. I mean, it is unjustified, it is uncalled for, and then I think they should render and qualify apology to the clerk of the parliament. In addition to that,
that one doesn't lie in our map. I'm sure the honorable minority leader did that yesterday. So, honorable member, it looks like all the things that you've just mentioned were what we witnessed in the video. And so we will ask colleagues if they have any question for you. Otherwise, we will take the clerk now because he has to attend upon other parliamentary works in the House. So, colleagues,
before you move on, some of us, based on what happened, we need to protect state property. So when you go to Article 41 under the Chapter 5 of Directive Principles of State Policy, Article 41 states and stipulates, especially F, to protect, preserve public property and expose or combat misuse, waste of public fund and property. It is clearly stated. So we are here just to defend members of parliament, to defend the constitution of Ghana, and exactly that's what we did. And then when you look at the same article, you look at article, the same 41K, to protect and safeguard the environment. At that time, the environment was not good. So at that time, even the marshals were helpless. They were there, but they were helpless. And one thing I found out is that issues relating to members of parliament, they say the police and the marshal are very hesitant because they have that respect for the members of parliament. So they don't want to go in like they are arresting or doing anything. So as members of parliament, we need to comport ourselves to have such a situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, except to say that the 41K to protect and safeguard the environment wasn't talking about the environment where there was fighting. It was talking about the surrounding and the ecology. Thank you. Colleagues, do you have any question for me?
Honorable Gaki, thank you for your vivid description. Moving forward, what do you think Parliament should do to avert such situations in the future?
Moving forward, I think we need to reorient our people, especially the first timers, because sometimes when people give unlawful order, if you know you're right, you can disobey. And then I was attacked by the former trade minister, for just making sure that we protect the tables and the chairs. The former the sports minister was also part, and then the former deputy transport minister was also part, who eventually fought with our chief whip, is also part. So that is what I would say, that in addition to that, as a members of parliament, the people who has high esteem, so we should do the needful not to be engaging in such activity to lower our morale, because the activities actually to tarnishing the image of Parliament as well as ourselves. Then we want to use the platform to apologize to the people.
Thank you very much. All the people you've mentioned, we've also watched the video, and they are supposed to be here tomorrow. And so tomorrow you'll be called upon again, because we saw you lifting tables, and that is why you were pushing table as well. Tables were pushed back, and you were pushed here, and you were pushing it back to rearrange. You have to tell us why you did that, but that's for tomorrow. Today is for you to tell us that yes, indeed, you are wrong. On that note, you are discharged. Thank you for attending upon the committee. Can we have the clerk? Since time is not on our side, we'll have the clerk, after which we'll have the marshal. We may have to. So we want to take the clerk and the whip and marshal. Maybe the rest of our colleagues will do that tomorrow, so that we'll take you tomorrow, because we need to get back to the chamber.
I, Nuna, Amin,
swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing
so
but
help
the
me
truth.
God.
So help me God.
Thank you, Mrs. Gifty Jagegoba. I don't know why my clerk put Miss there, for coming to testify. And also let me put on record that the minority leader yesterday apologized to you for what has happened, and therefore will not go into those issues of insult, whatever. But you are the clerk to the appointment committee. Can you just tell us what you saw on that fateful day, the 30th of January, as well as the 31st of January, during your committee's work in this hall?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I have watched the video you have shared, and it is a true reflection of the one who took the video from the position that he stood or she stood. On that fateful Thursday, from the video you shared, we had commenced proceedings, and the proceedings were disrupted, and the members went into a conclave in the Director of Protocol's office, and they agreed on how to proceed. But before that commencement of the meeting, I'd had various instructions. Aside what the chairman gave, the chief whip also called and sent both voice notes and texts, which I communicated same to the chairman. And after that, the committee went into a conclave. And so we started the proceedings.
Someone else is ready. Yes. Sorry, I'm just trying to ascertain which chief whip, majority or minority chief whip?
Minority, Honorable Anodompre. He sent text and voice notes in addition. So after the Honorable Nikpe was being taken, we realized that there was so much chaos going on, and as a clerk to the committee, it's my duty to keep order and make sure things are done properly. And it was brought to my attention that one of the doors has been ruptured, and because it was a glassware, I quickly informed the marshal about it. But in the process, I thought within myself, as a clerk, you have your ears and your eyes, and you are watching, you could sense. So in my spirit, I wasn't feeling right. And so I yielded to the Holy Spirit to call my boss, the clerk. So I called the clerk, pleaded with him that wherever he is, he should please come to my aid because what is happening is beyond my control. He indicated to me that he was at the scene of the former clerk, and he's really in the tight corner, but looking at my pleading, he would try and come. Within a matter of 5 minutes, the clerk was here with his usher. So I excused myself in the midst of the proceedings of Honorable Nikbe and went into the adjacent room where I had instructed my secretary to provide tea and coffee to the honorable members because it was way beyond sitting hours and we hadn't prepared for dinner. And so I briefed my boss, the clerk to Parliament, about what was going on and what I had sensed that it looks like we may have some disruption. So I was in there when my secretariat signaled to me that the chairman is calling me to swear in Honorable Akando. And Honorable Akando was seated in this seat. So I rushed through where the cameras were through the door and came in and stood by my chair. I didn't hear the directive, I was told. So when I came, I was looking at the chair. What is the directive? Waiting for prompting. But then my boss, the clerk to Parliament, was also there. And then the insults and disruption started. You have asked that I shouldn't go into that, so I went. And so I was shocked. I was still standing. If you look at the video, you could see the shock on my face, and I was like, what is going on? And so I was comforted, and I was resolute, seeing my boss at the end trying to calm the two leaders. And so I sent one of my secretariat ladies to seek guidance from my boss, who is the clerk to Parliament. At that point, there was, so much disruption. There was scuffles going on this side where I was. Over there, members were, there was so much screaming here and there. The chief whip came to my side. Some of the majority leaders, members came to my side that I should swear, I should let the nominee take the oath. And I pointed to them respectfully that my boss is standing right here. It is in his shoes that I step in. And so if I don't get indication from him, I am not going to take order from anybody. And so they kept, screaming at me, I should let the nominee take the oath. My minority leader was also screaming and yelling. I don't want to go into it because you've asked me to, so we've all watched the video, and the video is there to speak clearly. And so at a point, I got hot, so I started fanning myself, and I took a seat. And all that you saw in the video transpired. At the tail end, when the majority leader was trying to engage both, I got 3 calls and a message from my dear husband instructing me to leave the premises immediately. And that order I took and I adhered and I left. I exited through this door and went to stand in front of the clerk's office waiting for him to inform him of my leave to go home because my husband, my dear husband, has requested me to come. And so
we are getting indication from the clerk of Parliament, and I want to put on record. The clerk of Parliament has instructed that we should suspend the sitting until further notice, and therefore I want everybody to be aware that it is not the committee that has decided to stop, but the clerk to Parliament of Ghana has requested that until he get further instruction from the Speaker, the committee should suspend its sitting. On that note, we want to discharge you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. And I want to inform all the media house here that we'll get back to you. Who is waiting for instruction from the Speaker, who has formed this committee, and then by tomorrow we'll let you know the next step. Thank you very much, and God bless our homeland Ghana.